I should have known Jessica would betray me again. The words echo in my head, a bitter refrain, a soundtrack to the wreckage of my life. It wasn't the first time she'd taken something of mine, claimed it as her own. A favorite sweater in high school, a boy I liked in college, even that stupid award for a science fair project I did most of the work on. Small betrayals, then. Insignificant pebbles that, in hindsight, were leading to this avalanche. This, this was my future. My soul poured into threads and code. The metallic taste of betrayal floods my mouth, sharp and coppery, almost making me gag as I stare at the investor pitch deck on her laptop screen. My designs, my meticulously gathered research data, my revolutionary smart fabric, iris weave, its potential to change industries, laid out in glossy, corporate sanitized slides under her name, Jessica Thorne, innovator. The prototype, the one I'd stayed up countless nights perfecting, fueled by caffeine and an unshakable belief in its power, is gone from my workstation. Vanished. Now I know where. It's probably tucked into a fancy briefcase, ready to be paraded in front of men in suits. My hands tremble. Not with fear, though a sliver of that is there, but with a cold, calculating rage that begins to ignite deep within my chest, burning away the shock. How could she? We weren't just roommates, sharing a cramped two-bedroom apartment and overdue bills. I'd thought we were friends. Sisters forged in the fires of shared takeout and commiseration over terrible dates. Shared dreams. Whispered in the dark. Late-night talks fueled by cheap pizza and even cheaper wine, where I'd naively bared my soul in the intricacies of my invention. Was all of that a lie? A carefully constructed, long-con charade to get close to my work, to identify its worth and then rip it from me? The planning it must have taken makes my stomach churn. I hear her key in the lock. The door clicks open, the sound unnaturally loud in the sudden silence of my mind. Jessica waltzes in, humming a cheerful off-key tune, a triumphant smirk playing on her lips. She's dressed in a new power suit, charcoal gray, sharp lines. One I definitely can't afford, one I now suspect my invention, my iris weave, indirectly paid for. The smirk vanishes, melting like ice in a furnace, when she sees my face, the damning evidence of the open laptop, the shattered pieces of my trust scattered around me like invisible razor-sharp broken glass. "Maya, what are you doing up so early?" Her voice is too bright, too forced. "Looking at your handiwork," I manage, my voice surprisingly steady, like a steel rod has been inserted into my spine. Or should I say, my handiwork? I point a shaking finger toward the screen. Her eyes dart to the deck, then back to me. Panic flickers, a tiny, trapped bird behind her pupils, quickly masked by a defensive glare, a familiar hardening of her features. "I don't know what you're talking about. Don't you?" I stand up, slowly. The room suddenly feels too small, the air thick with unspoken accusations. "Iris weave. My name isn't anywhere on this, Jessica, but yours is, prominently. How did that happen?" "Oh, that." She tries for nonchalance, waving a dismissive hand. "It's a terrible performance." "Look, Maya, I was going to tell you." "Tell me what? That you stabbed me in the back? That you stole years of my life?" The rain starts to lash against the windows then. A sudden downpour, as if the city itself is weeping for my loss, or perhaps underscoring the drama unfolding in our tiny living room. The rhythmic drumming sound is a counterpoint to the frantic beat of my heart. "Don't be so dramatic." Jessica crosses her arms, a defensive posture I know all too well. "I didn't steal it. I improved it. What you had? It was interesting, a good starting point, but it was basically useless garbage in terms of real-world application. Full of flaws." Useless garbage? The words, my own cherished creation, so casually denigrated, strike me harder than a physical blow. My vision momentarily blurs. "I poured everything into that. It worked. You saw the tests." The tests were amateurish. It needed a professional touch, a viable business strategy, something you wouldn't understand. Her tone is condescending, dripping with a newfound arrogance that makes my blood boil. "I took your raw idea, and I made it something investors would actually look at. I made it viable." "You mean you slapped your name on it and pretended it was yours?" My voice is rising now, raw with pain and anger. The core technology, the weave structure, the conductive polymers, that's all mine, Jessica. You barely know the difference between a resistor and a capacitor. Details, details, she scoffs. I'm the one who got the meetings. I'm the one who secured the interest. You were just puttering around in your little corner, talking about changing the world but doing nothing to make it happen. I made it happen. By lying, by committing fraud. It's called ambition, Maya, something you clearly lack. She walks towards her bedroom, a dismissive flick of her wrist. Honestly, you should be thanking me. If this takes off, maybe I'll cut you in for a small percentage, for old time's sake. Thanking her? The audacity of it shatters the last vestiges of my composure. My carefully constructed calm fractures and a wave of pure, unadulterated fury washes over me. Get out, I whisper, the words like ice, each one heavy with the weight of my broken trust. Excuse me? This is my apartment too, last I checked. Or did you forget that while you were busy with your invention? You know what I mean. Get out of my sight. I can't look at her anymore. The sight of her, so smug, so deceitful, is a physical torment. My dream, twisted into a mockery by the person I'd trusted most in this city. The dream we'd supposedly shared. The fight rages on, a torrent of bitter accusations and venomous denials. She never admits to the theft outright, always framing it as an improvement or a business necessity. Her voice growing louder, shriller, as my quiet, cold anger meets her bluster. The rain outside intensifies, each drop against the pane like a tiny hammer blow to my already fractured heart. By the time she finally storms into her room and slams the door, the sound reverberating through the apartment like a gunshot, I feel hollowed out, a mere shell of the woman I was just hours ago. The air stills, heavy and suffocating, leaving me alone with the echo of her dismissal and the drumming rain. The aftermath is a blur of tears and disbelief. My world has been upended, my dreams stolen and repackaged by someone I considered a friend. The vibrant colors of my ambition have leached away, leaving behind a dull, aching gray. I can't stay here. Every corner of the apartment screams of her betrayal. The shared coffee mugs we'd bought on a whim, the faded photos on the fridge from happier, more innocent times, even the faint, cloying scent of her expensive perfume that now seems to mock me. It's tainted. The landlord, a kind but harried man, is sympathetic but firm when I call him, my voice choked with unshed tears. The lease is in both our names, and breaking it is costly, a penalty I can't possibly afford. Jessica, of course, in a brief, cold text exchange, refuses to leave or buy me out. She's riding high on her stolen success, probably already picturing herself on the cover of Forbes, the visionary tech prodigy. So I'm the one who has to go, to be displaced from my own life. Packing my meager belongings feels like sorting through the debris of a life that no longer exists. Each item is a memory, now tinged with a sharp, metallic bitterness. The Arduino boards I'd spent hours coding, the spools of experimental conductive thread, the notebooks filled with my frantic, ink-stained scribbles, and those exhilarating eureka. Breakthrough moments, they all feel like relics of a fool's errand, monuments to my own naivety. Defeated, shoulders slumped, I move back into my parents' quiet suburban home, into the childhood bedroom that suddenly feels miles too small for my collapsed dreams and oversized grief. The lingering smell of stale coffee grounds in the empty apartment as I take one last mournful look is the scent of my surrender. Or so it seems to me in that moment of utter desolation. My parents are supportive, in their own bewildered, loving way. They don't fully understand the scope of what I've lost, the intricate cruelty of intellectual property theft, the depth of Jessica's deceit. But they see my pain, the raw wound of it. My mother cooks my favorite comfort foods, dishes that taste like ash in my mouth. My father offers awkward, well-meaning advice about getting back on the horse, his words fumbling to find purchase on my grief. But the fight has been knocked out of me. For a week, I drift in a haze of despair, the future a terrifying, shapeless void. Jessica's words, useless garbage, play on a relentless loop in my mind, each repetition another twist of the knife. Was she right? Was I just a naive dreamer, clinging to an idea that had no real worth. Then, something shifts. It's not a sudden epiphany, but a slow, gathering burn. A tiny ember of defiance begins to glow in the crushing darkness. It's the memory of her smug, triumphant face as she'd dismissed my life's work, the casual cruelty in her voice as she'd offered me a small percentage. And I know, with a certainty that cuts through the fog of my despair, that I can't let her win. She didn't just steal my invention, she tried to steal my spirit, my belief in myself. And that I will not allow. That she cannot have. The quiet power move begins not with a bang, but with the soft, determined click of a laptop key in the dead of night. I start documenting everything. Every email exchange with Jessica where I discussed iris weave, every saved draft of my research proposals, every time-stamped photograph of my evolving prototypes. From the crudest early models to the near-perfect version she'd purloined. I meticulously reconstruct the timeline of my invention, my creation, building an irrefutable mountain of evidence, each piece a stone in the foundation of my comeback. My grief begins to morph into a steely resolve, my pain, a potent, highly flammable fuel. Then I remember Professor Armitage, my old engineering mentor from university. A legend in his field, sharp as a tack, with a no-nonsense attitude and a deep passion for true innovation. He always believed in my potential, always pushed me to think bigger, to challenge conventions, to look beyond the obvious. He'd been fascinated by my early concepts for iris weave when I'd shyly presented them in my final year. With trembling hands, heart hammering against my ribs, I draft an email. I lay out the situation, the theft, the betrayal, the sheer audacity of it all. I attach my compiled evidence, a digital fortress of my claim, my heart pounding with a mixture of hope and the familiar, sickening dread of further disappointment. He replies within hours, his email characteristically blunt. Maya, this is outrageous. An affront to the very spirit of innovation. Come and see me immediately. We need to talk. A sliver of hope, fragile but fiercely bright. I cling to it like a drowning woman to a raft. As I'm packing the last of my research notes and the few remaining components to take to him, I find it. Tucked away in an old anti-static bag, a small, custom-fabricated sensor array. A crucial component of iris weave's unique haptic feedback loop and adaptive learning capabilities. Jessica must have overlooked it, or, more likely, not understood its profound significance when she took the main prototype. It's tiny, almost insignificant to the untrained eye, a mere collection of circuits and wires. But without it, iris weave is just fabric. Smart, yes, capable of basic functions, but not revolutionary, not the dynamic, responsive, almost sentient material my iris weave is designed to be. A tiny, cold smile touches my lips for the first time in what feels like an eternity. Maybe she didn't get away with everything. Maybe her improvements weren't as thorough or as intelligent as she arrogantly believed. Professor Armitage listens intently in his cluttered university office, the scent of old books and ozone hanging in the air. His brow is furrowed, his gaze sharp as a laser, as he examines my documents, my patents pending drafts, and the small, unassuming sensor array I place carefully on his desk. He's a man of few words, but his silent, simmering disapproval of Jessica's actions is palpable, a comforting wave of validation. When I finish my story, my voice hoarse but steady, he nods slowly, his fingers steepled. She's made a critical error, Maya, a profoundly stupid one. An error? I ask, my breath catching, hope surging. Yes, he says, a grim satisfaction in his voice, a glint in his intelligent eyes. In her haste to claim it as her own, in her so-called improvements, she's overlooked the fundamental quantum entanglement principles that make your original design so groundbreaking, so elegant. The version she's pitched, it might work superficially, for a flashy demo, but it will be unstable, inefficient, and prone to catastrophic failure under any real operational stress. He taps the sensor array I brought, the one Jessica left behind. And without this specific calibration sequence tied to these bespoke sensors, she'll never achieve true stability or the advanced functionalities. She's built a house of cards on a faulty, incomplete foundation. My heart leaps, a wild, joyful thing, a fatal flaw, a chance. The game isn't over, it's just beginning. Professor Armitage doesn't just offer sympathy, he offers a lifeline. Your original iris weave concept, Maya, he says, his eyes alight with an intellectual fire I remember so well, is not just viable, it's revolutionary. Jessica Thorne has no idea what she's truly dealing with, or rather, what she failed to steal completely. His words are a balm to my bruised spirit, a spark to the tinder of my resolve. He tells me he knows a couple of his current brightest post-grad students, Liam and Priya, who would be ideal collaborators, brilliant, hungry, and fiercely loyal to the principles of genuine innovation. He believes they'd jump at the chance to work on something as cutting-edge as Iris Weave, especially given the David and Goliath narrative now attached to it. They're young, but they're prodigies in material science and nanorobotics, respectively, he assures me. And more importantly, they despise intellectual dishonesty. The meeting he arranges takes place in a quiet corner of the university library, surrounded by the hushed reverence for knowledge. Liam is lanky and intense, his mind clearly working at 1,000 miles an hour, peppering me with questions about quantum coupling and energy efficiency. Priya is quieter, more observant, but her insights into microfabrication and system integration are razor sharp. I lay out my original schematics, the sensor array, and the story of Jessica's betrayal. I see the initial skepticism in their eyes melt away, replaced by a shared indignation and then, unmistakably, a burgeoning excitement. They see the elegance of my design, the sheer potential that Jessica, in her arrogance, had missed or dismissed. She basically took the engine but left the turbocharger and the control system, Liam says, a slow grin spreading across his face. And she doesn't even realize the engine is about to seize. We can make this so much better than what she's peddling, Priya adds, her eyes shining. Your core concept for adaptive learning in the fabric? It's genius, Maya. The alliance is forged right there, amidst dusty textbooks and the quiet hum of scholarly pursuit. We are a small, underfunded, but fiercely determined team. Professor Armitage offers his guidance and access to some of the university's less scrutinized equipment during off hours, a quiet act of rebellion against the corporate sharks circling Jessica's stolen, crippled version of my dream. My parents, bless their trusting hearts, agree to let us convert their double garage into a makeshift laboratory. It's a far cry from the gleaming, state-of-the-art facilities Jessica is undoubtedly now enjoying, thanks to her ill-gotten investor funding, but it's ours. It's a sanctuary. It's a war room. The garage lab becomes our world. Days are for me, a grueling temp job I took to contribute to household expenses and fund our meager supplies. Nights are for Iris Weave. The whir of secondhand 3D printers becomes our lullaby. The scent of soldering flux and ozone, our constant companion. We work in a feverish haze of creation, fueled by instant noodles, endless cups of coffee, and an unshakable belief in what we're building. Liam wrestles with the power matrix, finding ways to enhance energy storage within the very fibers of the fabric. Priya, with her meticulous attention to detail, refines the microsensor integration, making them virtually undetectable and exponentially more responsive. I focus on the core architecture, the software, the soul of Iris Weave, weaving in the quantum entanglement protocols that Jessica so carelessly discarded. There are frustrations, of course. Components fail. Code throws up inexplicable errors. Experiments yield nothing but smoke and disappointment. Jessica's company, Thorne Dynamics, is making headlines. Glossy articles appear in tech blogs praising her visionary work. Each mention is a fresh stab of the knife, but it only strengthens our resolve. We see pictures of her at lavish launch parties, schmoozing with venture capitalists, her smile wide and predatory. I imagine her, oblivious to the ticking clock of her flawed design, and it pushes me harder. The ticking clock isn't just her ignorance, it's real. Thorne Dynamics is planning to go public in 6 months, a rapid IPO based on the hype she's manufactured. We don't have much time to expose the fraud and launch the real Iris Weave. While Jessica enjoys the limelight, I make a quiet power move. With Professor Armitage's help navigating the labyrinthine legalities, I secretly file for a series of comprehensive patents on the true Iris Weave technology, the quantum entanglement protocols, the advanced sensor array, the adaptive learning algorithms, every single unique element that makes my invention what it is. It's a gamble, a costly one, draining my meager savings, but it's a necessary shield, a sword sharpened in the shadows. The breakthrough comes on a cold Tuesday night, 3 months into our relentless toil. We're testing the latest iteration of the fabric, a small 2-foot square swatch. I touch it, and the fabric responds not just with a change in color or texture as my early prototypes did, but with a subtle, localized temperature shift, perfectly contouring to the pressure of my hand, the texture of the iris weave flowing like liquid silk under my fingers. Priya initiates the stress test sequence. On the monitor, we watch as the simulated energy load increases, far exceeding anything Jessica's stolen, unstable version could possibly handle. The fabric holds. It not only holds, it adapts, redistributing the energy seamlessly, its internal matrix reconfiguring in real time. And it's 10 times more efficient. Liam breathes, staring at the data streaming across the screen, his voice filled with awe. The energy dissipation, the responsiveness. Maya, this is revolutionary. A wave of emotion, so powerful it almost buckles my knees, washes over me. It's not just relief, it's triumph. A pure, undiluted vindication. We've done it. We've taken the stolen dream and forged it into something stronger, something better, something real. The texture of the smart fabric responding to my touch, warm and alive, is the most beautiful sensation I've ever felt. It's the feeling of hope made tangible. The first true, fully functional prototype of the real iris weave is completed a week later. It's a simple glove, but when I slip it on, it's like nothing I've ever experienced. It anticipates my movements, subtly enhances my grip, warms and cools, in response to my body temperature and the ambient environment. It feels like an extension of myself, a second skin imbued with an almost intuitive intelligence. It far exceeds Jessica's stolen version in every conceivable metric. Power efficiency, responsiveness, durability, and the sheer breadth of its potential applications. We hold a small silent celebration in the garage, just the four of us, me, Liam, Priya, and Professor Armitage, who watches with a proud, fatherly smile. We toast with cheap, sparkling cider, the plastic cups clinking together, a tiny sound that nonetheless resonates with the weight of our shared achievement. We've built our miracle in a suburban garage fueled by little more than determination and belief. The next morning, an email lands in my inbox. The subject line is innocuous: potential opportunity. The sender is a name I recognize instantly: Alistair Finch, CEO of Innovate Corp., Jessica's biggest, most aggressive competitor, a titan in the tech industry known for his ruthless business acumen and his eye for disruptive technologies. The message is brief, almost cryptic. Miss Ramirez, I've been hearing whispers about your previous work and some more recent, very quiet, very interesting developments. Perhaps we should talk. My blood runs cold, then hot. How does he know? Who whispered? Is this a trap? Or is it the opportunity we've been fighting for? Alistair Finch. The name itself is a jolt, a paradox of fear and exhilaration. Innovate Corp is a behemoth, a shark in the fiercely competitive waters of the tech industry. Jessica had often spoken of them, a mixture of envy and trepidation in her voice. They were the ones to beat, the ones with limitless resources and a reputation for crushing smaller players. Why would he be contacting me? It could be a phishing attempt, Liam mutters, peering over my shoulder at the screen in our garage lab. The whir of our 3D printers seems to quieten, as if holding its breath. Or reconnaissance, Priya adds, her brow furrowed. Maybe Thorn Dynamics sent him to sniff around, see if you're a threat. Professor Armitage, however, looks thoughtful. Finch is no fool, Maya. He's ruthless, yes, but he also has an uncanny ability to spot genuine disruption before anyone else. Thorn Dynamics is all hype, a flashy facade. If anyone could see through that, it's him. And if he's heard whispers about your original work, and then more recent developments, he trails off, a rare glimmer of excitement in his eyes. This might be the opening we need, a very powerful, albeit potentially dangerous, opening. Dangerous or not, it's the only high-level contact we've had. My temp job barely covers my share of our pizza fund, let alone the costs of scaling up. The patents are pending, but legal battles are expensive, and Thorn Dynamics, with its investor cash, could drown us in legal fees. I reply to Finch, my email concise, cautious, agreeing to a preliminary virtual meeting. The Alistair Finch, who appears on my laptop screen a few days later, is exactly as formidable as his reputation suggests. Sharp suit, sharper eyes, an air of quiet intensity that commands attention even through a pixelated video feed. He doesn't waste time with pleasantries. Miss Ramirez, he begins, his voice a low, precise baritone. I've reviewed the public information on Thorne Dynamics Iris Weave. Impressive claims, flashy presentations. A slight pause, a flicker of something unreadable in his eyes. And utterly unbelievable from a fundamental engineering standpoint. The energy signatures they're claiming, the processing speeds, it defies known physics, at least with current commercially viable materials. I feel a surge of vindication. He sees it too. My sources tell me, he continues, that the original concept, the actual innovation, belonged to you, and that Miss Thorne's version is, shall we say, a poorly executed imitation. That's correct, Mr. Finch, I say, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. Jessica Thorne was my roommate and former colleague. She appropriated my research and my prototype. I thought as much. He leans forward slightly. I also hear you haven't been idle, that you've continued your work, that the real Iris Weave is significantly more advanced. This is it, the moment to gamble. It is, Mr. Finch. It's not just an improvement. It's a different class of technology altogether. Talk is cheap, Miss Ramirez. Thorne Dynamics has already poisoned the well with their overblown promises, and, I suspect, soon to be revealed underperformance. Investors are wary of anything branded Iris Weave right now. If you want my attention, or anyone else's, you'll need more than claims. You'll need to demonstrate. I can do that, I say, the words out before I can second-guess myself. Liam and Priya, listening just off camera, give me encouraging nods. Finch names a date, a week from now. Not in his gleaming corporate tower, but at a neutral high-tech incubator space, often used by VCs for confidential assessments. A small group, he says. Discreet. People who understand the difference between vaporware and a genuine paradigm shift. Don't disappoint me, Miss Ramirez. You likely won't get a second chance. The pressure is immense. A week to prepare, to refine our demonstration, to build a compelling pitch that can cut through the skepticism Jessica has created. We barely sleep. The garage is a blur of activity, the air thick with the scent of coffee, adrenaline, and the faint metallic tang of overworked electronics. We decide to focus the demonstration on two key areas where Jessica's version is fatally flawed and ours excels: stress tolerance under extreme conditions and real-time adaptive learning. The investor meeting itself is terrifying. We walk into a sleek, minimalist boardroom. The smell of new leather and expensive coffee fills the air. Around a polished mahogany table sit 5 figures: Alistair Finch, 2 stone-faced venture capitalists he's brought along, and 2 leading materials scientists whose papers I'd quoted in my thesis. They look at me, a young woman with a makeshift prototype developed in a garage, with expressions ranging from polite curiosity to outright skepticism. Jessica's ghost, her overhyped claims and stolen glory, hangs heavy in the room. Miss Ramirez, one of the VCs, a woman with an impeccably severe haircut, begins, her tone brisk. We've seen Miss Thorne's presentations. She claims her Iris Weave can revolutionize everything from athletics to aerospace. Frankly, some of her projections seem optimistic. What makes your version different, assuming the underlying IP issues are resolved in your favor? My heart is hammering, but I channel the cold fury of Jessica's betrayal, the quiet triumph of our garage breakthroughs. I lay out the science, the core difference in our approaches, the quantum entanglement principles Jessica ignored, the superior efficiency and adaptability of my Iris Weave. I don't just present data, I tell them the story of innovation, theft, and the relentless pursuit of a true vision. Professor Armitage is there, a silent, steady presence, his reputation lending unspoken weight to my words. Liam and Priya stand by, ready for the demonstration. Impressive theory, Miss Ramirez. The other VC, a man with a skeptical frown etched permanently onto his face, concedes. But Thorne Dynamics has a significant head start, market presence, and considerable funding. Even if their tech is flawed, they have momentum. Momentum built on a lie, I counter, my voice ringing with conviction. A lie that will inevitably collapse. We have the reality. I nod to Liam. Let us show you. This is the critical juncture, the demonstration. We have two identical setups, a mannequin arm rigged with sensors and a fabric sample. One sample is a replica we reverse engineered to mimic Thorne Dynamics' flawed design based on Professor Armitage's assessment and public patent filings Jessica had rushed. The other is our iris weave. Priya initiates the first test, extreme temperature cycling. The Thorne Dynamics fabric analog quickly shows signs of degradation, its responsiveness faltering, its internal matrix showing microfractures on the diagnostic screen. Our iris weave adapts flawlessly, maintaining full integrity and responsiveness from blistering heat to cryogenic cold. The scientists in the room lean closer, murmuring to each other, their pens starting to fly across their notepads. The sound of their scribbling is like music to my ears. Next, the stress and impact test. Liam applies increasing levels of force to both fabric-covered mannequin arms. The Thorne Dynamics sample tears under a load that our iris weave handles with ease, the fabric intelligently stiffening at the point of impact to dissipate the force, then returning to its flexible state. The difference is not just visible, it's orders of magnitude. The VCs are silent, their skepticism visibly warring with the undeniable evidence before them. Finally, the adaptive learning demonstration. I slip on our iris weave glove. I perform a series of complex gestures and the fabric learns, anticipates, even suggests refinements to my movements, displayed on a monitor tracking its neural network activity. I then try to replicate this with a glove made from the Thorne Dynamics analog. It's clunky, unresponsive, its processing power clearly overwhelmed. It's like comparing a supercomputer to a child's calculator. When the demonstration concludes, there's a stunned silence in the room. Alistair Finch is the first to speak, a slow, predatory smile spreading across his face. "Well, Miss Ramirez," he says, his voice resonating with newfound respect, "it appears you are not exaggerating." The lead materials scientist, a woman renowned for her cautious pronouncements, removes her glasses. The quantum entanglement application, it's elegant. And the real-time adaptive learning at this efficiency, I haven't seen anything like it. This isn't just an improvement on Thorne's work, this is a different phylum of technology. The funding negotiations are intense but swift. Finch, true to his reputation, drives a hard bargain, but he also sees the monumental potential. He wants to move fast, to crush Thorne Dynamics before they can even react to their impending technical failures. We secure $2 million in seed funding. The weight of the ceremonial oversized check they present for a quick photo op feels impossibly light compared to the weight of responsibility and opportunity it represents. It's enough to secure proper lab space, hire a small, dedicated team beyond just Liam and Priya, who become my first official hires, and begin scaling up production of our initial prototypes for key industry partners Finch already has lined up. We call our new company Phoenix Fabrics, a nod to rising from the ashes of betrayal. With the funding comes a new professional office, a small suite in a modern tech park. The smell of new leather in the chairs in our tiny boardroom is a world away from the scent of soldering flux in the garage, but the determination is the same, only now it's amplified by resources and a growing team of brilliant minds who believe in our vision. Alistair Finch, true to his word, is not just a passive investor. He connects us with a high-powered IP law firm, and the legal battle against Thorne Dynamics begins in earnest. Simultaneously, he introduces us to influential tech journalists, the kind who can make or break reputations with a single well-researched article. This is my quiet power move. I don't go for sensationalist headlines. Instead, I strategically leak key pieces of irrefutable evidence about Jessica's theft, carefully redacted emails, early design documents time-stamped years before her company even existed, and a comparative analysis of the core technological differences, highlighting the fatal flaws in her version. I provide this to a select few reputable journalists known for their investigative rigor. The media storm begins as a low rumble and quickly escalates. Tech blogs, initially enamored with Jessica's charismatic presentations, start asking hard questions. Anonymous sources, mostly disgruntled engineers within Thorne Dynamics who are beginning to see the cracks in Jessica's facade, and fear for their careers, begin to confirm the technical shortcomings. Side-by-side comparisons of my original patent applications, now public, and Thorne Dynamics filings reveal damning similarities in concept but critical divergences in execution. The sound of keyboards clicking, of journalists digging, becomes a distant drumbeat signaling Jessica's downfall. Thorne Dynamics' stock price, which had soared on initial hype, begins to wobble then plummet as institutional investors get nervous. The legal victory, when it comes, is almost an anticlimax, though no less sweet. The Patent Office, presented with our meticulous documentation and the now publicly questioned integrity of Jessica's claims, rules decisively in my favor, affirming my original ownership of the core iris weave technology. My patents are granted a shield of iron around my innovation. Thorne Dynamics is issued a cease and desist on their infringing products. Their house of cards built on my stolen dreams begins to crumble. We're in our new, slightly less tiny office, celebrating the patent victory with lukewarm pizza. Some things never change. When my new assistant, Chloe, pokes her head in. Maya, there's a Jessica Thorne here to see you. She doesn't have an appointment, but she's insistent. My blood runs cold. Jessica, here, now. Desperate, and if I know her at all, dangerous in her desperation. The taste of stale coffee and betrayal from that awful morning in our old apartment floods back. But this time, it's mixed with the steely resolve of a battle hard won. I take a deep breath. Send her in, Chloe. The prodigal thief has arrived. Jessica walks into my office, and for a moment, I almost don't recognize her. The power suit is still expensive, but it hangs on her differently, rumpled and ill-fitting, as if she's shrunk within it. The arrogant smirk is gone, replaced by a hollow-eyed desperation. Her hair is a mess, her makeup smudged. She looks like a ship that's been battered by a hurricane and is about to sink. It's a stark contrast to the triumphant figure who'd dismissed my life's work as useless garbage. Maya, she begins, her voice raspy, a pathetic shadow of its former confidence. Can we talk? I believe we're talking now, Jessica, I reply, my tone cool, professional. I gesture to one of the new leather chairs. She perches on the edge of it, looking small and lost in my spacious, sunlit office, a space earned through genuine innovation, not deceit. Look, I know I messed up, she stammers, twisting her hands in her lap. Big time. What I did, it was wrong. I see that now. You see it now? I raise an eyebrow. Or you see it now that your company is bankrupt? Your investors are suing you for fraud, and your visionary tech has been exposed as a dangerously flawed imitation? Her face flushes a dull red. Okay, yes, all of that. Maya, I was desperate. I saw what you had, and I wanted it. I wanted that success. I thought I could make it better, make it work faster than you were. By stealing it? I didn't think of it like that at the time. I told myself I was enhancing it, taking it to market. You were so slow, so academic about it. I was being thorough, Jessica. I was creating something revolutionary, not rushing a half-baked product based on stolen ideas. My voice is quiet, but there's a core of steel in it now, a strength forged in the fires of her betrayal and the subsequent fight to reclaim my work. She winces. I know that now. The thing is, Maya, I'm ruined. I've lost everything. My apartment, my savings, everything is gone. No one will touch me in this industry. I'm toxic. Her eyes, those same eyes that once looked at me with such casual cruelty, are now filled with tears. I need a job, Maya. Please, I'll do anything. I know Iris Weave, your Iris Weave, better than almost anyone. Even the parts I got wrong, I can be useful to you. It's a stunning reversal, the queen of condescension, begging for scraps from the table of the woman she'd tried to destroy. There's a perverse satisfaction in it, a dark little ember that glows with vindication. But there's also a weariness. I'm tired of Jessica. Tired of the drama, the betrayal, the constant shadow she's cast over my life. You want to work for me? I ask, the question hanging in the air between us. Here, at Phoenix Fabrics, after everything? I know it's a lot to ask, she whispers, tears now openly streaming down her face, leaving mascara tracks on her pale cheeks. but I have nowhere else to go. I was just trying to help in my own twisted way. I thought if I made it big, I could help you too. Her voice trails off, the lie so pathetic it's almost laughable. Help me? I repeat, incredulous. Jessica, you didn't try to help me. You tried to erase me. She doesn't deny it, just bows her head, her shoulders shaking. The silence stretches, broken only by her quiet sobs and the distant hum of the city. This isn't the triumphant confrontation I'd sometimes imagined. There's no screaming match, no dramatic satisfaction in her downfall. Just the pathetic, broken remnants of a person who gambled everything on deceit and lost. The decision about Jessica gnaws at me, but it has to wait. Phoenix Fabrics is exploding. The $2 million seed funding, which felt like a fortune, is rapidly being deployed. Alistair Finch, true to his word, has thrown his considerable weight behind us, opening doors I couldn't have dreamed of approaching on my own. We're not just refining prototypes anymore. We're preparing for mass production. If Iris Weave is as revolutionary as I believe, Finch had said, his eyes gleaming, we don't just enter the market, we create the market, we dominate it. And for that, you need scale. You need your own factory. The idea is daunting. A factory? I'm an engineer, an inventor, not a captain of industry. But Finch is persuasive, and the demand for Iris Weave, even in its pre-production phase, is staggering. Inquiries are pouring in from sectors I hadn't even considered: medical technology for responsive bandages and smart prosthetics, aerospace for lighter and more durable components, even high fashion for self-styling, environmentally adaptive clothing. So, we begin construction. We secure a massive, neglected warehouse complex on the industrial outskirts of the city, a relic of a bygone manufacturing era. The rumble of construction equipment becomes the new soundtrack to my life, a tangible symbol of our progress. Bulldozers clear away decades of decay, steel girders rise against the sky, and slowly, painstakingly, a state-of-the-art manufacturing facility begins to take shape. The scent of fresh paint and new beginnings mingles with the earthy smell of turned soil and the sharp tang of welding. It's a monumental undertaking. I'm learning on the fly, juggling technological development with supply chain logistics, HR policies, and the mind-numbing complexities of building permits and safety regulations. Liam takes charge of automating the specialized weaving processes for Iris Weave, his genius for robotics proving invaluable. Priya oversees the clean room environments needed for our advanced sensor fabrication. Professor Armitage acts as our eminence grease, his decades of experience providing a steadying hand. We work 18-hour days fueled by ambition and the shared vision of what Iris Weave can become. We're not just building a factory, we're building an empire. And in doing so, we're creating hundreds of well-paying jobs in a community that desperately needs them, breathing new life into a forgotten corner of the city. The texture of the factory's polished concrete floors under my worn-out sneakers feels more satisfying than any red carpet ever could. It's real. It's ours. 6 months after the factory groundbreaking, a year after Jessica's initial betrayal, we are ready for the official product launch of Phoenix Fabrics Iris Weave. The media buzz, carefully cultivated by Finch's PR team and fueled by the earlier scandal surrounding Thorne Dynamics, is at a fever pitch. The launch event is held not in a stuffy hotel ballroom, but right here in our newly completed factory, the gleaming machinery of our production lines serving as a dramatic backdrop. I stand on a temporary stage, looking out at a sea of faces. Journalists, industry analysts, potential clients, investors, and our proud, beaming employees. My voice, when I begin to speak, is surprisingly strong, imbued with the quiet confidence of someone who has faced down her demons and emerged victorious. I don't dwell on Jessica or the theft. Instead, I talk about the future. I showcase Iris Weave's incredible capabilities. A firefighter's uniform that monitors vital signs and core temperature, adapting to protect them in extreme heat. A prosthetic limb that provides nuanced sensory feedback, allowing an amputee to feel the texture of a loved one's hand. A solar sail for spacecraft, incredibly lightweight yet phenomenally strong, capable of self-repair. The demonstrations are flawless, each one eliciting gasps of astonishment and bursts of spontaneous applause. Iris Weave isn't just a product, it's a platform technology, poised to revolutionize multiple industries simultaneously. The response is overwhelming. Orders flood in, partnerships are forged. Phoenix Fabrics, the company born from the ashes of betrayal, becomes an overnight sensation, the darling of the tech world. Within the first year of operation, our company is valued at $100 million. The number is staggering, almost abstract, but the reality of it is in the bustling factory floor, the cutting-edge research happening in our labs, and the tangible impact our technology is beginning to have on people's lives. We are not just making smart fabric, we are weaving a new future. And then there's Jessica. Her savings, I hear through the grapevine, are long gone. She's facing eviction from the tiny, rundown apartment she moved into after losing everything. The ticking clock of her financial ruin has run out. She's called Chloe, my assistant, half a dozen times, each call more desperate than the last, begging for a chance to speak with me again. I've avoided her. Part of me wants to forget she even exists, but her plea, "I'll do anything," echoes in my mind. The factory is scaling up production. We need workers, people to operate the machinery, to perform quality control, to manage inventory. These are entry-level positions, a world away from the executive suite Jessica once schemed to inhabit. The decision rests solely with me. Do I offer her a job? Is it an act of compassion? Or a subtle final twist of the knife, a quiet power move to have her working in the empire, built on the dreams she tried to steal and then called useless garbage? Can I truly put her betrayal behind me, or is this a way to keep her under my thumb, a constant reminder of my victory and her failure? The scent of fresh paint in my now much larger, more well-appointed office seems to mock the complexity of the decision. It's a clean slate, but some stains are harder to remove than others. I pick up the phone and dial Chloe. "Ask Miss Thorne to come in tomorrow morning," I say, my voice betraying none of the turmoil within. I've made a decision about her employment. The cliffhanger, I realize, isn't just for her, it's for me too. Section 5, The Reckoning. Jessica arrives the next morning looking even more diminished, if that's possible. The fight has completely drained out of her. She sits rigidly in the chair opposite my large mahogany desk, a desk that feels like a continent separating us, her eyes fixed on her own tightly clasped hands. The silence in my office is heavy, broken only by the distant, rhythmic hum of the factory, a sound that is now the anthem of my success. The smell of success mixed with faint undercurrents of machine oil and new electronics permeates the air, a constant reminder of what I've built. "Thank you for seeing me, Maya," she mumbles, not meeting my gaze. "Jessica," I begin, my voice calm, measured. "This isn't about gloating. It's about something else. Something I'm still trying to define." Phoenix Fabrics is expanding rapidly. We have several entry-level openings on the factory floor. Assembly line work, quality control, inventory management. The pay is standard, the hours are demanding, it's not glamorous. Her head snaps up, disbelief warring with a flicker of desperate hope in her eyes. "Factory floor," she echoes, the words barely a whisper. I can see the internal struggle, the remnants of her pride battling the stark reality of her situation. This is a woman who, just over a year ago, was pitching to investors, her name plastered on a fraudulent vision of grandeur. "That's what's available," I state, keeping my expression neutral. "It's honest work, a chance to earn a living, a chance to start over, perhaps." She stares at me, searching my face for some sign of mockery, of malice. She finds none. Only a calm, unwavering resolve. This is my quiet power move, the terms I'm setting, not just for her, but for myself. It puts me completely in control, not through overt revenge, but through an offer that is both a lifeline and a profound lesson in humility. "You'd really offer me a job?" she asks, her voice thick with unshed tears. "After what I did?" "What you did is in the past, Jessica. It has consequences and you're living them. This offer is about the present. Do you want the job or not? I'm not offering forgiveness, not yet. Perhaps not ever, not fully. But I am offering a path, a very narrow, very humble path." The silence stretches. I can almost hear the calculations in her mind, the weighing of pride against desperation. Finally, she lets out a shaky breath. "Yes, she says, her voice small but clear. Yes, Maya, I'll take it, thank you. The thank you is genuine this time, stripped of all artifice. It's the sound of someone who has truly hit rock bottom and been unexpectedly offered a hand, however rough. Jessica Thorne, former aspiring CEO, now wears a standard Phoenix Fabrics blue smock and works on the assembly line, meticulously inspecting newly woven sheets of iris weave before they move to the next stage of sensor integration. The humbling is profound. I see it in the way she carries herself, no longer with that arrogant swagger, but with a quiet diligence. She avoids eye contact with me for the first few weeks, her movements stiff, self-conscious. The other workers, many of whom know the whispers of her past connection to me and the company's origins, are initially wary, some openly curious, a few subtly hostile. But Jessica just keeps her head down and does her work. I don't interact with her directly much at first. Her supervisor is Maria, a no-nonsense woman who rose from the factory floor herself and has little patience for drama or entitlement. Maria reports that Jessica is a surprisingly good worker-focused, meticulous, and a fast learner. She never complains. She never asks for special treatment. She simply works. She eats her lunch alone in the bustling canteen, surrounded by the noise and camaraderie of hundreds of employees, yet an island of solitude. The rhythmic sound of the production line, the whir and click of the automated looms, the hiss of pneumatic seals. These are the sounds of her new reality. The smooth texture of the finished iris weave. A constant reminder of the genius she tried to steal and the empire she failed to build, passes through her hands hour after hour, day after day. Slowly, I see a change in her. The bitterness in her eyes begins to fade, replaced by a kind of weary acceptance. And then, eventually, something akin to respect. Respect for the work, for the people around her, perhaps even for herself, for enduring this. She starts to make tentative conversation with her coworkers, offering a shy smile, sharing a packet of cookies during a break. They, in turn, begin to see not the disgraced would-be tycoon, but just another person trying to make it through the day. And I change too. Watching her, stripped of her ambition and deceit, I see not just the ghost of my betrayer, but a human being. Flawed, yes. Capable of great cruelty, undoubtedly. But also capable of work, of perseverance. My anger, that white-hot inferno that fueled me for so long, begins to cool, leaving behind a strange kind of emptiness that slowly starts to fill with something else. Not forgiveness, not entirely, but understanding perhaps, acknowledgement of the complex, messy nature of human beings. The growth is mutual, unspoken. She learns humility, the value of honest labor, the sting of consequences. I learn about the complexities of justice, the limitations of revenge, and the unexpected weight of wielding power with something approaching grace. My final gesture towards her, the job offer, was intended as a form of justice, a rebalancing of the scales. But it's also becoming a strange kind of mercy, one that allows for the possibility of redemption, however small. One afternoon, months later, I'm walking the factory floor, reviewing a new sensor calibration process with Liam. Jessica is at her station, her brow furrowed in concentration, as she inspects a particularly intricate weave destined for a new line of medical implants. She looks up, sees me, and for the first time there's no fear in her eyes, no shame. Just a simple nod of acknowledgement, a flicker of something that might even be professional respect. I nod back. The resolution isn't a dramatic confrontation or a tearful reconciliation. It's a quiet acceptance of a new reality, a new dynamic. I built this factory, this company, from the ashes of her betrayal. My success is the ultimate justice. And her presence here, working diligently on the factory floor, under my supervision, is a constant, undeniable testament to that. She is working in my factory, producing my invention. The title I'd once imagined in my darkest, most vengeful moments has come true, but the reality of it is far more nuanced, far less triumphant in a fist-pumping way, and far more human. The invention's true potential is just beginning to unfold. We are discovering new applications for iris weave almost daily, its capacity for adaptation and integration seemingly limitless. It's a living technology, evolving, growing. much like the people within these factory walls. My reflection on success is no longer just about personal vindication. It's about the jobs created, the lives improved, the future we are building, thread by intelligent thread. The price of betrayal was high for both of us. But perhaps, just perhaps, the possibility of growth, of something new and better emerging from the wreckage, is a form of payment too. Phoenix Fabrics doesn't just fly, it soars. The factory, once a symbol of my personal battle, becomes a hub of global innovation. Iris Weave finds its way into everything. Athletes wear our adaptive apparel, smashing world records. Surgeons use our smart sutures that monitor healing and deliver medication precisely. Buildings are skinned with Iris Weave, generating their own power, responding to environmental changes. The expansion is dizzying. We open new facilities in Europe and Asia. My face, once unknown, is now on the cover of tech magazines, not as a victim of theft, but as a leader and innovator. The hum of global success is a constant, vibrant energy. With this success comes a profound weight of responsibility. The lesson I've learned, etched deep, is that true innovation isn't just about brilliant ideas. It's about integrity, perseverance, and the people you trust to build alongside you. Betrayal taught me the value of caution, but the collaborative spirit of Liam, Priya, Professor Armitage, and now hundreds of Phoenix employees taught me the enduring power of shared purpose. My journey has inspired many, I'm told. Young inventors, especially women in STEM, see my story not as a cautionary tale, but as a testament to resilience. That, more than the billion-dollar valuations, becomes my most cherished legacy. But I'm not one to rest on my laurels. The scent of infinite possibility is too intoxicating. Even as Iris Weave transforms industries, my mind is already buzzing with a new challenge, a new concept that began as a whisper in the back of my brain during those late nights in the garage. It's bigger than Iris Weave, more audacious. It involves biointegration, neural interfaces, concepts that make even Liam and Priya look at me with a mixture of awe and concern. The future isn't just about smart fabrics. It's about redefining what it means to be human in a technologically augmented world. And what of Jessica? She's still at Phoenix Fabrics. She rose slowly through the ranks on the factory floor. No special treatment, no shortcuts. She became a line supervisor, then a shift manager. She demonstrated a quiet competence, a dedication that surprised everyone, including at times herself. She never asked for more than she earned, never alluded to our past. She rebuilt a life, piece by painstaking piece, within the walls of the empire I built from the dream she tried to steal. The final power move, my ultimate decision about her future at the company, comes not with a dramatic flourish, but during a routine quarterly review. Her performance is exemplary. She's respected by her teams. She understands the Iris Weave production process intimately. Jessica, I say, looking at her across my desk, the same desk where she once begged for a job. She looks different now, stronger. The hollow desperation is gone, replaced by a quiet self-possession. I'm creating a new role, head of global quality assurance for all Iris Weave manufacturing. It's a significant step up. It requires an encyclopedic knowledge of our processes, an unwavering commitment to excellence, and an ability to manage complex systems and diverse teams. I believe you're qualified. Her eyes widen, just for a moment, a flicker of the old Jessica, the ambitious one. But it's tempered now, layered with years of humility and hard-won experience. Maya, are you sure? I don't make decisions like this lightly, I reply. You've earned this opportunity, Jessica, through your work here. Not because of the past, but despite it. It's a testament to how far we've both come. It's not about forgiveness, not entirely. It's about recognizing growth, about acknowledging that people can sometimes transcend their worst mistakes. It's a quiet power move that shows, I hope, true leadership, the ability to see potential, even in the most unlikely of places, even in the shadow of a profound betrayal. She accepts, her voice thick with emotion. Sometimes, late at night, when the factory is humming with the quiet energy of the night shift, I walk the floor. I see the intricate dance of machines and people, all working together to create something extraordinary. And sometimes I see Jessica in her new, more senior role, conferring with engineers, her expression focused, authoritative. She's a part of this, a small, reformed part of a legacy she once tried to corrupt. My roommate called my invention useless. Now she works at the factory I built to mass produce it, ensuring its quality for a world that has embraced its revolutionary power. And as I look towards the horizon, towards the next audacious dream, I know this. The future is woven from threads of innovation, resilience, and the enduring, complicated, and sometimes surprising capacity of the human spirit to endure, to transform, and to build anew. This is just the beginning.